Hey YouTube viewers, this is Donnie Smith and welcome to this video series that is designed to help you pass the ASE exam. Now this video series is specifically for the paint refinish, and what we're going to do is we'll go through the task and give you the knowledge to pass the test. What this is not really your prep test type book. It's not just test questions. If you want that, there is a link down in the description. You can get more information about that. What this basically goes through all the tasks that you will need to know to pass the test. Now, we've already talked about safety in a previous video. This video, we're going to concentrate on surface preparation. And the first task we're going to talk about is inspect, remove, store, and replace exterior trim and components necessary for proper surface preparation. Now, this is important steps, and I've seen it skipped or missed many times. Maybe not so much in the body shops, as it would at a school. But it's really just thinking about what you're going to do. During your repair plan or whenever you're thinking about the steps you're going to take to paint something, you kind of have to have the end in mind, before you start. And go ahead and get the car ready to paint, to prep. Instead of waiting until the last minute until you have to do everything. For example, it talks about exterior trim. If there's a molding that's going to have to come off, or a door handle, take it off before you ever do anything else. Do that first. Get it ready. For example, I've seen moldings, left on the car till right at the end, and then you're trying to get it off, and then you have to go back and, sand where the molding was at, or the door handle. You end up scratching the door handle, or belt molding, something like that. So it's a really good idea to go ahead and strip the car down whenever you're getting it ready to prep, ready to sand, wash, whatever. Go ahead and get all that stuff off of there. That way, whenever you're sanding, you're not having to be so careful trying to avoid scratching, an adjacent molding or anything like that. So get everything off the car before you ever start prepping the surface. Okay, this next task is another one, often overlooked, but it can lead to many problems, and that is soap and water wash entire vehicle. Use appropriate cleaner to remove contaminants. Now, before you start sanding on the car, let's say you got it stripped down, ready to go, and I see this a lot. You just start sanding and you think, well, I'm going to wash it before I get it in the booth so it'll be clean. Well, that may be partially true, but whenever you're sanding, you're smearing around those silicones and contaminants on the car. So you want to get that off first before you start working on the car. Not only is this going to make sure you don't have any problems like fish eyes or adhesion failure or things like that. Washing the car first is also going to save money, and that is because being able to wash the car first, you're getting rid of the waxes, the silicones, the contaminants, and that's not going to load your sandpaper as fast, because if you leave all those coatings on there, you sand just for a second, those contaminants load the sandpaper, and you're going through a lot more sandpaper and taking longer. So it's taking more effort, costing you more money, if you're not washing the car first. So be sure and wash the car with soap and water. Use a appropriate cleaner, something like a wax and grease remover. Every paint brand has their own version of it, but as long as it's designed for to clean off silicones, be sure and wash the car with soap and water, wipe it down, and then you can start your prep work. Okay, the next task that we're going to look at is inspect and identify type of finish, surface condition, and film thickness. Develop and document a plan for refinishing using a total product system. And again, this is important to do, and this talks about developing your repair plan, making sure that you go through the steps before you start working on the car. For example, it talks about type of finish. Is it lacquer? There's not a lot of that around these days, but there could be. Is it base clear? You're going to have to do a tri-coat. What is it that you're having to do? You want to know that up front. The next thing is the film thickness. This is very important. They got the little magnetic gauges that will work. They're not as effective, but they got the digital gauges as well. Now the digital gauges has to be a metal surface, but go around and gauge your paint on the different panels that you're going to be prepping and painting. Because if it's 10 mils or more, you may have to strip that or partially strip it. Too much paint coatings can cause the adhesion problems. It can cause your gaps. You keep putting more coatings on your edges, and that might cause a problem where you open the door and it knocks a chip off after you paint it the last time. That's the last thing you want, is to open the door and then knock a chip of paint off, you know, things like that. So if it's over 10 mils, you may have to partially strip it. Now, you don't have to completely strip it necessarily if the paint's in good condition. You know, it's not cracking, peeling, or anything like that. It's just too thick. You know, you can go with, this is what we do. There's different methods of doing it, but we start out with 180 and we take it down just about to the desired mil thickness, you know, 6 mils or whatever we're wanting to get it down to. And then we jump 100 grit at a time. So we go from 180, well, then we go to 220. That's what we use. That's not quite 100 grit. And we go around the entire surface that we went with 180 to minimize the 180 grit scratches with 220 grit. And then once we do that, we go with 320. And then we go around the entire car with 320, you know, to minimize the 220 grit scratches. And then we jump a little bit from 320 and then we go to 500. And that's not exactly 100 grit, but you know, it's pretty close. And we go over the entire car with 500 grit. And 500 grit's just going to minimize the scratches, you know, the 320 grit scratches. And then that's what we paint on top of. You know, we seal and paint on top of 500 grit scratches. Now, your paint system may be a little bit different. You know, waterborne may require 600. You know, just kind of determine, read your technical data sheet to find out what the sandpaper grade recommendation is to finish that out. Generally, 400 to 600 is what generally is used for final sanding before paint. Then also you want to check the surface condition. Is it cracking or peeling, or is there any problems with that paint? You know, a lot of times problems like that's going to require you to strip it completely. Now, there's different ways to strip, you know, whether you're allowed to use chemical stripper or not. You can use a DA sander. You know, you can sand it all down with 80 grit, or you know, whatever is recommended, however your shop prefers. You know, 36 or 80 is probably what most shops are going to use if they sand it with a DA. If it's one panel, you can have it sanded down pretty fast. You know, if you got access to some type of media blaster, there's different ways to do it. But if there's a problem with that paint, you know, you're probably going to have to strip that down to the metal. Then, you know, come back with whatever system you use. They're different. You can use, there's metal treatment you can use, or there's self-etch primers, or there's epoxy primers. Depending on your paint system, you know, they all vary a little bit. You know, it's going to determine what repair method that you take from there. And then it says develop and document a plan, and basically I just call that a repair plan. And what that is basically, you know, determining what all you need to do up front before you start on it. And then that way, whenever you start to do it, you'll have a step-by-step process to make sure you don't skip things like remove that molding, or, you know, to check the paint mill thickness, so you'll know, do I need to strip this down partially, or do I just final sand it? You know, that way you'll know up front the steps that you need to take. It is my goal to keep these videos short, so that's all we're going to cover in this video. Just give you little chunks at a time, let you absorb that, and then you can watch the next video. Down below is a link to the test prep books that I have, but also there's a link that'll take you to all these videos if you're wanting to go through more than one video at a time, and take you through the entire playlist. So be sure and check that out to go through the ones that I've already uploaded, and as they become available, they'll also be put on this site as well. Thanks for watching this video. I hope this helps, and good luck with your ASE exam.